Let's welcome Pashupati Advani joining us on the show right now. Hi, Mr. Advani. Very good afternoon. And first up, New Year greetings to you and your entire team. To this fresh start of the new year, help us with your outlook on the markets and which are the big themes that you're tracking at this point.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. First of all, sorry to change the subject slightly, but 1st January, I think we're one of 3 markets in the world that are open. So the sooner we join the rest of the hundreds of other markets, the better it is. If we take a well-deserved holiday for our people, because 31st for most people is a tough time.
We hope that, Aisha, we also hope that the exchanges and the regulators listen to us.
Well, all I want to say is this is our plea every December end, and nothing happens. The sooner we make our peace with it, the better. At least it's not extended hours or Saturday trading, right, Pashupati? We can still be okay with 1st Jan, I feel.
That's true. But I mean, going back to the markets, somebody, I've just been reading which are the sectors that have actually been hit and not hit. Okay, so one is the auto sector is down in the year 2024, and I'm one of these believers that you should look at sectors that have not done well and see if there are any jewels in those. So one is autos. We do see that there is pressure in auto sales, so I think there's still a little bit of time before you go into that. The other ones that have been beaten down are oil and gas, and to some extent, and energy and commodities. So I think this is the year of when those are actually going to be the winners. And to some extent, the PS public sector enterprises and public sector banks also, which have been hit. So those are the ones that one should be looking for jewels within those sectors, because they're the ones which are 10, 15, 20% off their highs. Overall, I think our market is fine. Though I am seeing flows going back to the US, because there's a lot of optimism with Donald Trump coming to the White House that he's going to be good for the markets. So I think there is money flowing back into the States. So that's not good for the rest of the world, I'm afraid.
All right, so that's the outlook on the markets and the sectors that you're tracking at this point in time. But what we are seeing is that some of these metal counters are losing that shine. So Mr. Pashupati, if you can help us with your take on the metal pack, because of late there was a lot of hope that was building in with the China reopening and the growth triggers there, but all of that seemed to be fading away. So any outlook to share on the sector?
Well, I think that one should be looking at. Obviously, they've been hit. I think that sector has been hit. Almost 20% last year from the highs. Okay, so 17, 18% from the highs. The metals have been hit, but at some point they're going to turn. Now, whether it's going to be from a Vedanta, or whether it's going to be Hindustan Zinc, or that's what we need to look at, because we do need these metals for our construction. We do need these metals for our roads. So I think there is use for them. There is end use. And I think that's what's going to turn it around. Steel, we are afraid of what's going on in China, but I think there is still a slowdown in China. And again, it depends on what Donald Trump does with them, and what he does with the general public, and how he allows China to enter, and whether they're allowed to make money in the US again. So again, a lot of that we will know in policies in the month of February, which will give us direction as to how we're going to do for the rest of the year.
Pashupati, any interesting ideas that you came about in the month of December since we've chatted? Anywhere where you may have, added more positions or even bought afresh?
Well, actually, I just wanted to say one thing. Even though the currency of India seems to be getting weaker, which is that I think is the game changer, and that is actually the main thing we need to be looking at. I am not particularly bullish on the IT sector, and the IT sector has only gone down 5-7%. So I think that that's a sector that definitely will go down. I'm very light. I've been selling out my positions in IT, because I actually don't think that it's our Indian IT companies are going to be able to make. And now with this H1B controversy that's been stirred up in the US, it's going to be even tougher for them to do business. So I actually think that the IT sector should be minused, if you know what I mean. So yes, lighten up. I think you're going to get opportunities, and definitely sell off shares in the IT sector.
All right, but sticking with the IT then, there's been a lot of chatter that is going around with the H-1B visa, as President-elect Donald Trump will take the charge soon. soon. So let's go across and listen out to the latest commentary coming in on this front by him.
And I've always felt we have to have the most competent people in our country. We need competent people. We need smart people coming into our country. And we need a lot of people coming in. We're going to have jobs like we've never had before.
Right, so for now, it seems to be on the positive side that they need a lot of people coming in. So let's see and track more reactions there. But getting back to the markets, Aditya, what's your take on some of these metal counters on the technical front? Because we just had Mr. Pashupati's take on the fundamental side. But for today, stocks like Hindalco, Tata Steel, they are reeling under pressure. So help us with your take. But before we do that, let's go across and listen out to the cabinet outcomes coming in.
साथियों, इस पूरे पैकेज की कॉस्ट करीब 3,850 करोड़ रुपए की आएगी और ये आप अगर देखोगे तो एक क्लियर कमिटमेंट है पिछले 10 साल का। देखो अगर आप इन 10 सालों में कभी भी किसी भी तरह के डिसरप्शन आए, चाहे कोविड का डिसरप्शन आया, चाहे वॉर का डिसरप्शन आया, किसी भी डिसरप्शन में प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किसानों के ऊपर बोझा नहीं बढ़ने दिया। उन्होंने वो सारा बोझा सरकार के कंधों पे लेना उचित समझा और इसका एक स्पष्ट अगर डेटा में देखें आप तो 4 से 14 में सब्सिडी फर्टिलाइजर्स की जाती थी करीब 5.5 लाख करोड़ 4 से 14 में, 2004 से 2014 में। 2014 से 24 में ये करीब 12 लाख करोड़ हो गई, 11.9 लाख करोड़, यानी डबल से भी ज्यादा सब्सिडी इन 10 सालों में किसानों को फर्टिलाइजर्स पे दिए और इसका बहुत ही अच्छा परिणाम भी आया है। देश भर में जहां पर भी जाए हम, अभी हाल ही में महाराष्ट्र में काम करने का मौका मिला था, तो वहां किसानों से जितनी भी जगह बात करते, हर जगह किसानों का ये बहुत अच्छा एक इनपुट आता, फीडबैक आता कि सब्सिडी मतलब फर्टिलाइजर का प्राइस मोदी जी ने बढ़ने नहीं दिया। दुनिया भर में प्राइस कहीं पर भी गया हो, लेकिन वो एक्स्ट्रा बर्डन मोदी जी ने किसानों पे नहीं आने दिया, वो बर्डन सरकार ने अपने कंधों पे लिया। मोदी जी ने ये क्लियर कमिटमेंट किसानों के प्रति दिखाया। ये साथियों 2 बहुत बड़े फैसले आज लिए गए और अगर इसको हम देखें तो ये एक पूरी सीरीज है। अगर ये सारे फैसले आपके सामने जो रखे हैं, ये फैसले जून में तीसरी टर्म प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार बनी 3rd टर्म के लिए, उसके बाद के फैसले। आप इन फैसलों में क्लियर पैटर्न देखेंगे। ये पैटर्न है किसानों के जीवन से जुड़े, किसानों के खेती से जुड़े हर एक एस्पेक्ट, इनपुट से लेके आउटपुट तक।
All right, so that's the cabinet briefing that is underway, but big announcements coming in on the subsidy because cabinet has given its nod for extra subsidy allocation of 3,850 crores is what he's been saying, as well as cabinet has approved the DAP fertilizer subsidy, and all in all, there has been an allocation that is being made to PM Fasal Bima Yojana of close to 70,000 crore rupees till 2025 and 26. So those are some of the announcements that we are still tracking, but all of these fertilizers counters have been doing well. Stocks like Deepak Fertilizer, some of these companies from the government side, as in RCF and NFL, are also doing pretty well right now. But Aditya, coming back to having your take on the metal pack, because Hindalco is one of the top losers. It's Tata Steel, JSW Steel, they're also joining that downward move. So any stock that you believe that could be in for some more pressure from these levels?
I think the one stock which could be under some more pressure, Srishti, is actually Hindalco. But again, I feel majority of the correction in these stocks are done at current levels. I don't see an excellent risk to reward in going short either in Tata Steel or maybe Hindalco or JSW Steel. If anything, give it some time. I preempt a short covering rally, especially in Tata Steel. At current levels, it offers an excellent risk to reward to go long with the stop loss just around 134, 135. on the downside, and you can easily test levels of 145 to about 150 on the upside. So I would like to play a little contra here within the metal pack, just for a trading bet, not for a long-term bet here, and just see how these stocks perform over the next few trading sessions.
Okay, that's that on metals. But just want to check in on IT once again and see where the Nifty IT pack is currently at, because for the last 2 days, of course, we've seen that the IT pack definitely has been taking quite a bit of beating. Today, of course, some of these stocks are making a little bit of a bounce. But Naresh, on the reading of some of these mid-cap IT charts, KPIT, persistent, emphasis, etc., tell me, what are those indicating? Whether they will continue to be in the bull run while the large caps lag, or is it going to be across the board selling that you sense?
So the mid-cap ones have rallied quite a bit over the last, say, 6 to 8 months. If you look at a persistent, it was at 3,500 back in April to June. Now the stock is closer to 6,500. So it's almost gone up, almost near to 90 to 100% move. Looks like a pause in the making here. Same is the case with Coforge. The stock on that big gap down was at 4,500. Now the stock is at 9,500. So in the last, from May to December, the stock has gone up more than 100%. So these names could take a pause. Similarly, a KPIT tech has not gone anywhere. It's been sideways, so that may not correct. But going forward from here on, the larger names could see whatever interesting bounce back trades. So any further gap down on bad results, that would be the time to buy the larger names like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, and maybe even HCL Tech, which has already rallied a lot. But I would still go with Infosys and TCS as good bets in the segment on any other correction from here on.
So that's the take coming in on IT. But Mr. Pashupati, any take on stock like Trent? Because that has been the star performer of 2024. Yes, we have been chatting about the growth plans of the company and how the company specifically with the Zudio outlook has been doing for themselves. But given the kind of run-up and the valuation they still hold, any take coming in on Trent? Are you also one of those who still like the stock even at these levels?
Trent has been a great performer simply because it's been consistent, and I think that it is a visible listed proxy on the growth of India. So I think people will continue to come in. The Tatas and Trent is Noel Tata's main company, his original company. So I'm sure he'll get, even within Tata Sons, it will have a positive bias in terms of investment and in terms of strategy going forward, because he knows that company better than any other. So I think that it's not that it should be bought or sold, but it is part of the market. And I think if you wanted to come in and you wanted to be involved in the FMCG space, this would be a good place to come. And certainly when you compare it with, let's say, a D-Mart, which is similar but different, at least you've got one more player to compare it with. And I think Trent gives a box is par for par with that in terms of the way things are going.
We say cart because there are no more boxes, right? It's always add to cart, and that's something we're more familiar with nowadays. But Pashupati, since we're talking about retail, what about these online platforms, Swiggy, Zomato? Do you have both in your portfolio, or do you think Zomato is going to be, or rather continue to be, the out-and-out winner?
No, I think these four new wave stocks that came actually to market at the same time. Swiggy, of course, came later, but Zomato, Policy Bazaar, Paytm, and they've done well, and they continue to do well. And I think they came to the market at the same time. So I think that it's been interesting times for them all. I'm sad because I missed the Paytm. I mean, I was in it and out of it too soon, and then missed the real move up to the 900 level. So that's my mistake. But I think I caught it right, but I didn't.
Oh, okay.
There are new players coming who are going to try and pick away, but I think it.
I seem to have snapped that line. But Aditya, I saw you smirking as well. What's been your reading on the charts, or did you make the same mistake like Pashupati, got in at the right time but got out too soon?
It's not only with Paytm, Aisha, it happened with Zomato as well. Probably picked it too soon and then exited also too early, having to miss out on major part of the rally, I would say. But yes, I would agree with him. These players are here to stay. If I just look at the chart setup, who would have thought Paytm at just from 300, 350 to what it is trading right now, 1100 would come to. I think it still has up move left. Give it some time. Not at current levels. Maybe if you get it somewhere around 900, it's still a very good buy, I believe, and can test levels of 1400 on the upside. Nika is something which is looking interesting to me within this space, has underperformed big time. I think there's good buying that I'm seeing at current levels in the stock. Can see a decent upside from here on, maybe 200, 220 on the upside can also be seen here, which offers an excellent risk to reward as well. On the downside, 150 is a good support area.
About Zomato around 270 thereabouts, is that a good buy, or would you pick Swiggy clearly?
No, I would avoid both of them. I would avoid both of them, Aisha, at current levels, Zomato and Swiggy. I think there's a bit of a correction which is due in both the stocks, and especially Swiggy. I think once the lock-in ends for 6 months, you will see a lot of people who had bought it in the unlisted market come on the floor and sell maybe. So that can have certain pressure on the stocks. I would avoid both Swiggy and Zomato at current levels. On declines, yes, I would look to buy Zomato rather than a Swiggy.
All right, so that's the take coming in on these counters, and definitely big targets coming in on Paytm by Aditya. 1400 is what he's looking at, almost like 40-50% uptake even from these levels. But getting back to some of these other counters then, wherein stock like Bajaj Auto is also reeling a bit under pressure. And Mr. Pashupati, just wanted to have your take quickly that given this space and the kind of performance that we are seeing from the two-wheeler counter specifically, definitely stock like TVS Motors, Bajaj Auto, they have also corrected from their higher levels in 2024. Any stock that is giving you a valuation comfort at these levels? Would you be a buyer in any of these two-wheeler names?
See, honestly, I think that the two-wheeler space is a little bit crowded right now, and buying seems to have been stopped at the retail level. It's slowed down. I think it will come back, but I think that all these stocks have to come back first. Then we have to see two-wheelers going out the door, and then that's the time to go back into them. So right now, I'm being a little cautious on the two-wheeler sector. And, you know, the only one in the auto pack that seems to be doing well is M&M. And I think that for that, you know, it has tractors, it has other things as well. So, and it has a vehicle that is different from everyone else, which seems to have, you know, has its own following. And to some extent, Enfield. You know, so those two have sort of been a little bit of a differentiator from the rest of the pack. So let's see what happens.
Okay, on that note, let's get some BTST trades as well as we begin the countdown to wind up the first trading day of 2025. Naresh, what's on your list?
So two names which are hitting new 52-week highs today. First is a buy on Jubilant FoodWorks. Good momentum here. Stock making new 52-week hikes. Stop loss now reversed at 732, target price of 750. Second is a buy on Coromandel International. The stock has hit new highs. Clearly an outperformer in the fertilizer space. Stop loss at 1900, target price of 1980.
Aditya, what about your buy today, sell tomorrow ideas?
There were a couple of them, Aisha. The first one is Uno Minda. Looks very interesting to me, as entered into consolidation, just breaking out of the consolidation. Looks like a cup and handle breakout. On the upside, for a target of 1200, I'll buy the stock, stop loss on the downside, close to about 1020. The second stock is Ipca Laboratories. I think this is also entering into an all-time high territory. So at current levels, I'll be a buyer for a target of 1800 on the upside with a stop loss on the downside at 1650.
All right, so all buys coming in from our experts at this point in time, but interesting names there. Stock like Jubilant FoodWorks as well as Ipca Labs are making up to the list, and BTST ideas from our experts. But Mr. Pashupati, wanted to have your take on some of these pockets that have showing good moves of late. Stocks like railways as well as defense counters are seem to be getting back in charge. But given the kind of run-up that we have already seen and also the kind of correction from those higher levels, what is your sense that for this particular year, because we just have budget 1 month away, do you believe that these stocks could do better even from these levels?
I think the government is committed to spending in in this whole sector, whether it's defense, whether it's infrastructure, which is primarily getting spent on railway infrastructure, I think. So, you know, I actually went and saw the hole in the ground that is going to be the bullet train from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, and it looks pretty impressive and looks like it's going to be ready pretty soon. So these are all good steps for India's development, and they're all good, and the government is fueling it. That's for sure. There's not much private investment in these companies, but then obviously they get benefit from getting their suppliers to this growth, and I think that's also where we should be looking for really to make money.
All right, so that's the take on some of these counters, the defense as well as railway pack, because Mr. Pashupati believed that the government is actually committed for more spending, and he also shared his take. But moving on, and stock like Voltas is also doing pretty well for itself, because it's a 3% jump is what we are seeing. And very interesting to note that as the company manufactures AC, it's mostly the winter season that always has done well for Voltas as per my observations. But Naresh, any take on Voltas after almost 2 to 3% jump on an intraday basis? Is the stock ripe for more up move from these levels?
So the momentum is strong, but the sector overall has not been doing great. So Voltas looks interesting, but I would give it a pass purely for the reason that the sector is not doing well. And the stock over the last 1 year has done phenomenal. Say from 850 odd levels, the stock is at 1800. So at current levels, there could be false starts and multiple resistances around 1900 odd levels. So the risk reward is not great.
Okay, that's the take coming in on some of these cap good plays. But all eyes will also be on AMFI's semi-annual categorization as well, where the final official list is going to be out in the next 3 to 4 working days. Sharad is here with a list of the potential changes that could come about. Sharad?
Well, yes, this is Nuvama's final list coming in when it comes to AMFI's semi-annual categorization of stocks. And interestingly, the important thing is this would be applicable from February onwards, and the announcement is likely to come in the next 3 to 4 days. Now, I'll just give you a word of caution that there is no expected outflows or inflows coming from these categorizations, but this helps as an aid to the domestic fund managers. But now let's look at the names, the interesting potential large cap entrants. If you look at it, they include CG Power, RVNL, ICICI Pru, and also the newly listed companies such as Hyundai Motors, Bajaj Housing Finance, and even Swiggy and NTPC Green coming to the list. Now, the stocks which can move from the large cap to the mid cap segment, this stocks include NHPC, IDBI Bank, BHEL, JSPL, and even Mankind Pharma and Apollo Hospital Enterprises. The potential mid-cap entrants, that's interesting list. Over here we have 361 WAM, Keynes Tech, ABFRL, Premier Energies, which is a new listing, and also Vishal Megamart and Ola Electric Mobility, which may be classified as a mid-cap. Now, there are certain stocks which might move from the mid-cap to the small-cap category, and these names include ITI, Delivery, Poonawalla FinCorp, Global Health, Gland Pharma, and also Bandhan Bank and Star Health.
So we are waiting for AMFI's, the changes that AMFI is going to make, and some of these stocks we just discussed. But on the bottom of your screen, you will see that the substay for DAP has been hiked by ₹175 per bag, and this particular hike has been coming after 4 years. And our reporter Prakash Perdarshi was right on the top of this particular news, and that's a confirmation that we are getting at this point in time. A lot of discussion we have already done on these names, and stocks are also doing well for today. But before we wrap up, good to see that the markets on the first day of calendar year 2025 has been holding up well. It's a green end to the markets, because 120 point of gain on Nifty 50, more than 200 points of gain coming in on Bank Nifty, and both of these indices are seen to be supporting their crucial support levels at the bottom. But stock like Bajaj Finance is also lending support, almost a 2% gain coming in on this one. And Naresh, since you have been tracking and you closely track all these large cap names, so your take on Bajaj Finance, can this also be a good BTST idea?
Call that one, because the stock has been very sideways for the last many months. So if you go back to the prices, it was at 7,000 back in 2021, 22, 23, 24. So it's been around that 7,000 plus minus 200, 300 points. So not really a great trading range. And so for now, it would still be a trade where you want to avoid.
We'll let our experts go on that note. Naresh, Aditya, good to have you guys as always. And Pashupati, just a word of advice, patience pays in the market. So don't try and get out, hopefully, of the stocks that you've caught at the bottom too soon.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.